Hey everyone, welcome to another quick edition of 80s Trash Horror. Now, I've got quite a few movies, actually, only four of them, to discuss here today, and some of it's glorious trash, some of it's just trash, some of it's not trash at all. Let's start out with the two that are not trash at all, and that is Gate 1 and Gate 2, both of them on Amazon Prime. Um, Gate one and Gate two, I call it 80s. It's in my 80s trash horror thing, but it's not really trash at all. The Gate one and the Gate two are almost the perfect example of the quintessential 80s horror film. Gate one, starring Stephen Dorff, a little Stephen Dorff of all people, Ethan Frost from Blade One. Um, but yeah, Gate One, Gate Two both involve accidentally opening this subterranean gate into the bowels of hell. The first movie is very much an accidental thing where these two boys accidentally open this gate to hell and all of their attempts to close it and to prevent the demons and minions from coming out and taking over the earth. Gate 2 doesn't involve Steven Dorff, but it does involve the other character who I can't remember. Like these are quickie reviews, so I didn't do really any research. But Gate 2 involves the secondary character from the first movie. He's older, he's a teenager, and he's decided that what, opening the first gate wasn't so bad. It was just that we didn't do it right. So his idea is that we do it right this time and summon them the way they're supposed to. Mr. Dorf, to you. That's right, Ted. Um, but so the Gate 2, he decides that the problem was we just didn't do it right. So he reopens the gate, which, as we know, is all going to be a bad thing. But this one has a little bit of a different thrust to it because the idea was if he channels the magic correctly and he can make the minions do his will and they can get every wish they want. He's got good intentions. His dad's kind of a drunk and jobless, and after his mom died. So his intention was to make things better for his father. Of course, everything goes horribly awry. Um, and in true 80s horror fashion, both these movies wrap up nicely by the end. Um, so they're the Gate 1 and Gate 2. I'm not going to call them 80s trash horror, but they're perfect example of 80s horror. The third one is just glorious trash, and that is Mutant on Tubi with Wings Hauer and Bo Hopkins. Um, Now, the good part about Mutant was actually a really good spin, and it's 80s in all its glory. So it's 80s horror in all its glory. I mean, just saying the name Wings Howard, that should be clue enough for you. Um, but it's a nice spin on a vampiric monster. And I say vampiric because it's not essentially a traditional vampire. I thought that was actually quite creative what they did there, and how they created that whole same small town claustrophobic. People are disappearing, changing, that sort of thing. I thought that was actually pretty well done. And Bo Hopkins actually was pretty good in this too. Again, it's funny how uh oh yes, I will definitely review Chud at some point. Definitely will review Chud. Um but it's funny how when you watch Stranger Things, that the more 80s horror you watch, the more you realize that Stranger Things just literally took, let's take all these 80s horror movies and make them the template. So Bo Hopkins in Mutant plays your very stereotypical, oh, I accidentally killed somebody as a big city cop, and now I'm in a small country town, drunk and trying to find some sort of sense of redemption. Just like from Small Thing, Stranger Things. So it was a pretty good film, pretty enjoyable. The only downsides I would say to Mutant is that the actors playing the mutants, at times they were channeling is a little too much. Things were really really creepy until the monsters showed up, and then they were choreography was not good on that. Also, too, you have a lot, depending on what your threshold is for this. You have a lot of The damsel in distress is a damsel in distress. I mean, she's practically worthless. All she does is cry and scream, and ankle hurts. I can't go on. And Wings Hauser is doing his tough '80s. You can go on. You can do it. Kind of bullying. I'm not trying to be woke or anything like that, but he just to go into it, realize, understanding it's an '80s horror film, and he's the alpha male, and she's unfortunately the helpless female. But it's a great example. There's another one I want to do here really soon that I forgot to do, called Children of the Night. It's a really good example of just a nice schlocky '80s film. Now, my last one, unfortunately, is just trash, and that is the Video Dead. Um, Now, the Video Dead, probably the most disappointing thing about Video Dead, and this is also on Tubi, is the description of the Video Dead has something to do with these two folks, these two brother and sister who love horror movies and gory movies, get this cursed TV that brings their horror movies to life. And I'm thinking, that's pretty cool. The movie has nothing to do with this description. All we have is a random cursed TV. We don't know why it's cursed. We don't know where it comes from. Um, and it brings these Day of the Dead rip-off zombies into the real world. And they don't really eat people. They just kill them by like stuffing them upside down inside a washing machine and then pureeing you when they put the washing machine on spin cycle. So there's nothing to that at all. They don't. The two protagonists, the brother and sister who moved to a new home, they don't even like horror movies. This just randomly happens. Then of course, some random mentor shows up who originally had the TV, and the best he could do was just mail it on to someone else, like a la The Ring, I guess. Um, Unfortunately, with the exception of a few interesting kill shots, this one was just, and I don't know what was more disappointing, the really really abysmal acting. I mean, I reviewed Suckling a little while ago, and the acting in Suckling was stellar compared to this. Or the fact that it didn't deliver on the premise. I thought that was a pretty cool premise. You get a cursed TV, two avid horror fans, and now that TV brings their horror to life. No, that's not what happens. I think the most hilarious thing about this movie, however, is its blatant, unadulterated ripoff of the piano score from the original Halloween film. Like, it's maybe just one note different. It's literally the same thing. It's like, and it got me. Yeah, I mean, they were intended effect. You hear that music, and I'm almost like, "Where's Michael Myers?" And then I realized, I'm like, dude, it's literally the Halloween theme, like one piano note off. So, anyway, if you got some time to kill, Gate One, Gate Two, perfect example, starring Mr. Dorff. Thank you, Ted. Starring Stephen Dorff in the first one. Perfect examples of, in fact, those two movies. You could see the resonance of them in Stranger Things as well. Mutant with Wings Hauer and Bo Hopkins. Those are great. If you really want to take a look at the bottom of a barrel, then and Mutant was also on Tubi. Then the Video Dead also on Tubi. So we'll see you later in a couple days with a few more examples of '80 trash horror.